There it is. It is official, at least for now. The WrestleMania 40 main event is set. An incredible kickoff show last night, and we're here to break it all down for you. Welcome to Squared Circle Radio Live, ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time. That is Andy York to my right. I am Chris Belcher. Joining us is not Jared Justice, although this man might be a little bit better looking than Jared Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, our MCWF host, Mr. Tyler Peters, is joining us. Welcome to the show, man.
I'm excited to join you, gentlemen. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I love you, Jared, but I'm going to take the compliment.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I said Jared is not with us live. We will hear from Jared in just a little bit, though. He sent me a nice video that we're going to play during this to get his comments. We're going to take all your comments as well on WrestleMania Kickoff reaction, an incredible press event last night in Las Vegas. We're monitoring your questions. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook, YouTube. Send us your questions, your comments. We would love to hear from you. But we got a lot to say here, Andy. A lot of stuff happened last night.
A lot of stuff happened last night. A lot of just randomness in the best way possible.
Sure.
And so it's just going to be a lot of fun to talk about. I love the fact that of all the scenarios we talked about on Monday and on Tuesday, none of it happened. None of it happened.
We literally on Monday, again, go back in our archives, wherever you find your podcast, and on YouTube, make sure you like the video, subscribe, all the things. But in our archives on last week's episode, we said it has to be one
or the other,
and it was neither.
And I love the fact that, like, I heard nobody bring this idea up. Like, nobody, and I not taking shots, but it's very funny. And I've seen people put this on Twitter as well. Dave Meltzer gave like 300 scenarios and still got it wrong. So like it's all over the place about what is actually happening, but I'm all on the ride. Like it's completely changed since last Friday.
You know who did get it right? Your boy on season 1 of the MCWF.
Partially, yeah.
Our fantasy booking show. Go back and check it out. Who got it right? This guy. But anyway, that's a story for another time. Tyler, I'm going to go to you first, man. Of course, we're talking about Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, The Rock, and Seth Rollins. You can see it on your screen there. The incredible event last night. Before we get to last night, though, Tyler, since this is your first time on, what they've heard from Andy and I, we've gabbed about this so much. So let's set the scene. Last Friday night, The Rock showed up on SmackDown, essentially taking Cody Rhodes' spot at WrestleMania. What was your reaction to that, especially as an old school fan, because you're an Attitude Era guy, you like The Rock. So what was your reaction to that? And then follow that up with what you thought leading into this press conference.
My reaction to The Rock showing up was great. I mean, I always love seeing the great one, The Rock, and Cody Rhodes. I felt bad for him. A lot of mixed emotions, like so many fans. You like The Rock. You also respect and admire the American Nightmare, his journey winning the Royal Rumble. He's deserving of this moment. Now, I was probably in the minority. I didn't feel that like Cody should have won last year at Mania. I do feel this year's different. Roman Reigns coming in. Let's call it for what it is. He's box office. As much as I love Cody Rhodes, with him being named on the TKO board and coming in and giving us these shock appearances, provide an outlet for the WWE, and it's actually been very monumental, and so is Cody Rhodes. So I've just tried to look at both perspectives, and I felt so sorry for Cody, though. You could tell by his expression, disappointment when The Rock embraced him, and then he had to step aside and just acknowledge The Rock, not just Roman Reigns. And Roman, the facial expressions were very telling, and Paul Heyman. So it definitely had me guessing. I didn't know where they were going to go before this press conference. So I'm like Andy and like you, Chris. Now I've got a whole new level of excitement going into WrestleMania, even Elimination Chamber. What's going to transpire there? So there's a lot on this road to WrestleMania.
And yeah, Andy, we talked about it. Tyler just mentioned it. That the details, the way they shot things, Cody's everybody's facial expressions. I'm trying not to jump the gun here. I'm not saying this was all piece by piece set up exactly this way. They knew it was going to happen this way, because I do believe that plans change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that all plans changed in this situation,
Right.
but what I am saying is all of those facial expressions, all those production techniques, and everything that was shot in a way that makes sense that it would lead us to what we got last night, which ends up being Cody Rhodes coming out, choosing Roman Reigns, and essentially The Rock turning heel and siding with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, we're in a completely different place than we were Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, a completely different place, because SmackDown ended with Rock Roman face to face and basically was without a doubt heading to them at WrestleMania 40 in the main event. And now, I mean, we didn't even get the Rock Roman graphic that we talked about.
Right.
Like, we got it in a way.
Yeah.
But it was only up there for like 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden it quickly changed to Roman Cody. And then I didn't expect, because he said he was going after Roman at the press conference, and then they didn't really say it was official on press conference. And then like 5 minutes later, Triple H tweeted out the graphic, and it's like, oh, this is official. Like, we're officially getting Roman versus Cody in some capacity at WrestleMania 40, whether that's going to stay as singles, it could be a triple threat, whatever the case is, we're getting Roman versus Cody for the title.
Yeah, Tyler, I'm in the camp of, I don't think this is, it's why I opened the show by saying this is the main event for now. Yeah. I don't know that it'll stick exactly like this, but Tyler, the way things shook out at the press conference, a lot of people are floating the idea around about a tag match, which we'll get into in just a little bit, being night one, and then night two being Cody versus Roman. Just, Tyler, so many different ways that they can go with this. Mixed reactions through the whole thing. Triple H didn't announce anything. So, Tyler, we sort of left the press conference not knowing what was going to happen, and then sort of drawing our own conclusions, which, Tyler, I believe in this Triple H storytelling era, that's what they wanted us to do.
Oh, they certainly did. Triple H is, and with The Rock on board and all the participants, it's about making us believe, suspend disbelief, and they accomplished that. That's why I think we're excited again as wrestling fans. Too many angles do not have the essence of feeling real anymore. And to me, I could buy The Rock and Roman against Cody and Seth. Seth even said, Rock, you think because you're an executive now, you can just come in here and waltz in? Kind of what Seth's been telling Roman. So it's making sense now that it's piecing together with, it's nice to see you. You finally showed up for work. I like the banner. Raw and SmackDown setting this up. And Triple H, it's a new era. I mean, he respected the past, and now we're getting the future. And I love it. And it makes you appreciate Triple H more and The Rock and all these moving parts. I almost wonder, gentlemen, if this Rock versus Roman match was just a setup so The Rock could turn heel. Now it's making the wheel spin a little bit. I mean, you wonder, as much as we want to see the match, we also want to see the Cody versus Roman match. Could it be triple threat? And you brought up a great point. Maybe it's a tag team match with Seth and Cody taking on the Bloodline with The Rock and Roman. So a lot of scenarios to talk about.
Yeah, not pushback, because I agree. I don't think there was a clear direction they were heading in Friday, but I don't think this is the direction they were necessarily heading in as of Friday, because the one line I keep getting hung up on is Cody saying not at WrestleMania. Like, I feel like that's the one hang up. And also, we've talked about it before. It's very difficult in this day and age to turn a legend heel.
It is.
It's we saw him try to do it with Edge, and it did not work.
Trish Stratus
did not work. So for them to come in with a guy like The Rock, who obviously is very talented, very good at being a heel, very good at speaking, but people love that version of him anyway. It's hard for me to say from the beginning that this was the plan to turn Rock heel in all of this.
Sure.
I think Friday they were testing the water. And when they tested the water, the boat started to rock, and they're like, okay, we got to figure something out to get to the end. Because I don't necessarily know that I was sold on Rock Roman happening this year as well.
Right.
So I think the plan was always going to tease Rock Roman this year, do Rock Roman WrestleMania 41. But I don't know that this was the path that they were heading on. And I don't think we ever need to know. And I don't really care at this point because what we're getting is so good. I don't care if it was the plan or not. I'm just happy that we got it.
That's the thing is like, I don't think we're ever going to know exactly, right. But your point about Cody saying not at WrestleMania refutes what I've been saying about the details and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, I all these details, Cody's facials, everybody's facials, but then he said that.
Yeah.
So that just sort of contradicts that. So I just,
and we've kind of seen this in Triple H's era before as well, of like, and it's a good thing to have in most cases of, now I'm with Sam Roberts because I listened to his emergency podcast last night as well. Yep. I'm against, like, I hate pivoting. I hate the term pivoting because 90% of wrestling stories don't finish the way that they were intended to start, I would say. Yep. And so just look at Jimmy and Jay. The whole reason why Jimmy turned on Jay was because he didn't want him to be like Roman. Well, they've never really done anything about that since. They've never said anything about that since. Now, they could pick it back up going into WrestleMania, but it's one of those of it didn't work. And so they're like, oh, we'll just kind of drop it and make people forget about it by doing something else. And now look at Jay as one of the biggest baby faces in the entire company.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, before we go any further, before we keep going down this road of what we could see, what could happen, let's center back around the press conference last night. Before we ourselves get into it, let's hear from my brother from another mother. Let's hear from Jared Justice, his immediate reaction to what happened last night. Take a listen.
What's up, everybody? I choose to be entertained. So I watched this press conference event, whatever WWE is going to call this thing. And at first, I kind of saw it through the lenses of that I'd always looked through before whenever it came to wrestling. Vince McMahon's version of wrestling. And I kind of came out of it and I was a little confused. And I thought, I'm going to give this another chance. And I re-watched this thing. And this time I just kind of tried to view it through the lens of entertainment. And let me tell you, man, if we erase everything that has happened up to this point, some things that didn't make sense. The Rock got involved. For whatever reason, he got involved. And since then, things have been a little bit different and a little bit wonky. But if we just look at what happened tonight, look at that moving forward, I think that everything is coming together and everything has the potential to be awesome. I mean, you could have had 3 new actors in Hollywood tonight with Cody, with Roman Reigns, and I guess you could even throw Seth Rollins and or Triple H in there. But they all did such a good job playing their roles, knowing their characters. And if we just look at what happened tonight and all the potentials that we could have going forward, did you notice that now, without even having a match, The Rock has become the head of the table? Who was following who? Roman was following The Rock. And it happened just like that. You go back to great moments in wrestling history like Stone Cold versus Brett at WrestleMania 13. And it's just one of those things that it's so good, it's bad. It's so bad, it's good. Characters can flip. Heels can go face, faces can go heel. And a lot of times in wrestling, it takes forever for those changes to take effect. Look at the progress that we made. Just in one night, in one single night, you had The Rock go from face, seemingly, to heel. And now The Rock seems cool again. And Roman seems cool again. And you had Cody. He came out. He played his part perfectly. Now, The Rock and Roman, they definitely did the better jobs of acting. Just watch their facial expressions. I mean, it's impressive. Even Cody, whenever that The Rock just kind of stepped up in front of Roman all of a sudden and started talking to Cody. You know, he was the one that responded to Cody. It was not Roman. Rock is now the head of the table. And how does this affect things going forward? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. I'm giving it a chance, people. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Man, he nailed it.
Yeah, well said.
Without even having a match.
Yeah.
Rock is now the head of the table.
Oh, yeah.
Not Roman.
Yeah.
Rock is head of the table. So all this that we're talking about, and we'll get into the execution of the press conference in just a second.
Yeah.
Because I think he made some excellent points there too. But without having a match, we talk all the time about, okay, if we're going to get Rock Roman, maybe we get it at 41. Maybe we get whatever. Maybe Rock's special enforcer at 40. He turns on Roman, and then we get a year build to 41. And Rock is the baby face and Roman is still the heel. If we're looking at it, Andy, we talk all the time about Roman's going to have to turn face at some point.
Yeah.
Is this not the way to do it? Because Rock stole the head of the table from him. And now the people can get behind Roman if they embrace this Rock thing, and off to the races we go.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that was one of the most telling things about the entire exchange was how quickly Rock overshadowed Roman.
Yes. And
in a way, I'm not going to say it hurt Roman. It humbled Roman.
It did.
In the eyes of the viewers, of when you looked at it, especially like even when we thought the press conference was over and we go back to the panel and you've got Punk running his mouth right with the Rock there, which was one of my favorite moments of the night. Yeah. And then you cut backstage at Triple H and you see just the visual of Rock and Roman walking together.
Yep.
Rock is still in front. Yep. Rock is the one that confronted Triple H about it.
Yep.
Rock is the one that was like manhandling the entire situation. And then when he walked off, it was Roman was like, yeah. And then just like walked off too. So it was like the whole thing was just done so well of making Rock take that place. But I think that's on purpose for when we get to Mania, Roman is going to come out even more of a heel.
Yep.
I think than a face.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we'll talk about when we kind of talk about what we're predicting for WrestleMania 40 and everything.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to a point where at the end of night one of WrestleMania, Roman's going to look like an absolute menace.
Okay.
Going into night two. But I'm excited for this whole ride. I never, in the bingo card of 2024, heel Rock was not on my radar. But like Jared said, it is the first time I was actually like, this is the coolest version of The Rock I have seen since before he like left WWE.
Yep.
Like even like his comeback with Punk and everything, he was still doing the childish insults and everything else. This was the coolest Rock. Like this is the Rock I have been wanting to see for a while, and we've got it, and I'm all on the board now.
Tyler, what's your thoughts on what Jared had to say and just the point of Rock now being the head of the table?
I thought Jared made some very good points, like you and Andy were mentioning there. Rock is taking more control of this story concerning the bloodline. To your all's point, Roman Reigns could grow tired of it. He could be more in the category with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes before it's all done. He may grow tired of being in the Rock's shadow. Because with all due respect, Cody is, as much as he loves his father, Dusty, he wants to be his own man. So eventually this is going to cause some friction. I do agree. It's only going to help everybody involved because Rock is cool again. This is peak Rock when he was finding his footing in the Attitude Era and then afterwards. And he set it up with the Pat McAfee interview, calling the Cody fans, the certain section, crybabies and, they're keyboard warriors. He's like, who cares? I'm the Rock, so we need more of that confidence, that kind of swagger. And I love it. And to have the heel Rock, it's only going to elevate Cody. I think I've been reading reports and the speculation seems to be correct. They're wanting to get Cody over more as the sympathetic babyface, and they're doing it. Yep. And Cody coming out, taking the slap, taking the disrespect, but dishing it back, saying, are you sure your granddads would be proud of what you're doing? And then The Rock standing up to him and slapping him. Then Seth, think about the rivalry Seth and Cody have had. And now they may be tag team partners, essentially. Oh. Who knows where this goes? I'm like you all. I'm just so excited. Jared brought up just some fascinating aspects to where this story can go. And you're so correct. The Rock is actually the head of the table, even though the tribal chief has been built toward this position for so long. So I'm just so excited about this new era that Triple H is guaranteeing. And hey, he's delivering. I think that's pretty evident.
He said last night to start the press conference, he said, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
And dude knows what he's talking about. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you are here with us live, thank you very much. Drop your comments in on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. We'll be happy to address those live. If you're watching this later on, we appreciate you doing that. Make sure you hit the like button on the video. That helps us a whole lot. Subscribe to the channel wherever you find your podcast. And lastly, if you're listening on Sports Wire Radio, make sure you keep it tuned into Tom and the crew over here, sportswireradio.org. That's sports with a Z. Make sure that you are supporting those guys. They are our exclusive partner. We can't thank them enough for all they do for us. One more request, at SQ_radio on all social media platforms. That's where the show is. You can see all of our individual handles right here on the screen, way over there, all the things. Make sure you follow us individually. We'd love to interact with you. We would appreciate it. All right, guys, the execution of this press conference, that's what we've been talking about. This is a press conference that happened in the middle of Las Vegas during Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
But WWE made it feel so important. And I'm not just talking about the big stage and the music and the panel in the middle and making it a free event and what have you. The execution of this, we talk about the details all the time. We mentioned the Rock's interaction backstage, following them backstage, them letting them use as much foul language as they wanted, bleeping it out, making it as real as possible. Tyler, we talk all the time about when you watch wrestling, you say, oh, that was fake, that was planned, that was that, but that was real. I know that was real. They didn't plan that. They got us hook, line, and sinker, man, the way they executed just this whole event.
They did. And to your observation, Chris, where you had the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, and it was just brilliant on the part of WWE. They made it feel like it was a big fight, like how a lot of wrestling matches are marquee headline. You want it to going into an event such as WrestleMania, and they're going to present it bigger and better each and every year. And I love how Triple H was putting it over all the legends. And notice when he got to The Rock's name, there was the mixed reaction. It was already setting it up a little bit. Yep. So I just love this new direction and how everything's going to get bigger and better. And Andy brought this up. CM Punk, I forgot how talented he is at commentary, because he's going to tell you how it is. He's got the attitude. And Big E, I love the interaction between the two to open up the show. So I know I'm pivoting a little bit, but I have to bring it up. But going back to the press conference was just remarkable. There's not much more to say. That's the way you do it. I mean, I think you pretty much covered it. I'm just kind of adding my 2 cents a little bit.
Yeah, it felt like a massive UFC press conference.
It did.
It felt like when Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather were going to go at it, all their press conferences that they traveled the country and did felt really big. And this was one of those that felt huge from the beginning, like even before, because there were some ups and downs. Like I would have rather had Bayley there than Bianca. There's stuff that you can nitpick at this, but even like Becky and Rhea, like when they came out, they got the crowd hot and they were getting ready. And then all of a sudden Seth comes out, Roman comes out, Rock comes out, Cody comes out, and we're running through this thing so fast that it was so amazing. And I was sitting there watching it with Katie, and at one point, like after the smack, after everything, she looked at me and she was like, Seth looks legit mad, like legit mad. And I'm going, yeah, because I think there's some heat here. I think there's some real heat here because Seth's been very vocal like this entire week about we don't need part-timers anymore.
Yep.
And so I don't think necessarily there's like bad heat between the two, but I think that was just a lot of the frustration of the locker room coming out through Seth. And I was like, this is what makes wrestling amazing, is when you take a real life moment, when you take real life heat, if there is any, or frustration,
real life feelings.
Yes. Emotions. And you put them in this container and you catch lightning in a bottle. And that's what they did last night, was they caught lightning in a bottle, because we were talking about Friday night and we were talking a little bit about Monday night. Now we're going to be talking about this press conference until the next big development thing happens. And when that happens, then we're running forward.
Yeah, because we've got an event tonight too. ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we did
tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what we think going forward. Let's talk about how we're going to book this thing. Tyler, if you've got the book, man, how are you booking it? What do you think?
It's going to be very interesting. If I've got the book, I don't think I want to get the Rock Roman match. I think I like them as a team. So I want to see Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes take on the Bloodline. And let's have Cody and Roman as our main event because Cody's worthy of it. And you said it. We could wait and have Rock and Roman later on, even at next year's WrestleMania. We don't need to rush things because Rock is here for the long haul now. He's an executive. So I actually like a tag team matchup. But then it kind of puts you at this conundrum. What do we do with Seth, though? He's still world champion. So, and a lot of the injuries have caused, a lot of change of plans with Punk and so much. I'll tell you, this is out of left field. You don't have to have a Bloodline involved since he's going to be taking them on in a tag team match. What if you reward Drew McIntyre with a crowd in Philadelphia? He's been attacking Cody. Maybe he gets involved and you could set up something with Seth Rollins. I don't know. It's even hard to book. It's easy to say, oh, let's put this piece here or there. That's what's so intriguing. So as I'm trying to lay it out, it's tough for me. It really is, but I'm excited though. It's not like I'm frustrated. I'm like, where could we go? What could we do? I mean, it's just that makes me that much more pumped up for WrestleMania and where we go from here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting at how Seth Rollins is incorporated into all this because I mentioned the tag match. Tyler, you mentioned the tag match. We obviously, it seems like we're headed in that direction, but is Seth going to be healthy enough to wrestle night 1 and night 2? You know what I mean? We got it. We can't, dismiss the knee injury and all that.
Yeah, and I think part of it is like a tag match will help him too because he's not going to be doing as much. So the potential of that helping a lot, I think is going to be there.
So let's go down that rabbit hole for just a second.
Yeah.
If you put him in the tag match,
he
gets his main event that he's always wanted because that's main eventing night 1.
Exactly.
You can't afford to make that the main event of the whole show, I don't think, because that means 0 world titles are on the line. So if that is the main event of night 1, do you keep Seth on the card night 2, or do you just not? Is this the solution for Seth to wrestle, not defend the title because he's injured?
No, I would still have him defend night 2. I think we're going to have a men's chamber at Chamber in Perth. And I think I think Drew wins the Chamber and he is the number 1 contender for night 2 against Seth.
Okay.
And I think that's where you could have, because this is kind of all playing into my booking of it if I was booking it, but you could have Drew just absolutely demolish Seth. Like 2-3 claymores from the get-go, we go home. And Seth looks like the fighting champion that he has been. He looks like the guy that can go forward. Or you could have Damian cash in night 1, and then Triple H is like, yeah, you cashed in. But you know how Seth was defending tomorrow night? You're defending tomorrow night now. And it's Damian Drew at WrestleMania night 2, and Drew beats him then and takes the title.
That could be very
so that way you can still keep the world title, because the world title needs to be defended at WrestleMania. If we're going to make this thing feel as important as they want it to, it needs to be defended at WrestleMania, I feel like.
Sure. I definitely agree with that. I don't know. I like this tag team idea. I would like the tag team idea even more if they just did it at Elimination Chamber, but I don't know if Seth will even be ready for that.
Right.
He did not have a knee brace on last night.
He was hopping around on it too.
He was hopping around. I'm not saying he's good to go, but he did say he was going to be ready for WrestleMania, and he did say he wanted to have a match before WrestleMania to knock the rust off and make sure that we're good. Chamber could be the place, but we're what, 2 weeks out? 3 weeks out from Chamber
2 or 3 weeks,
point?
Yeah, a couple, I believe.
So, guys, I don't know. But we've kept sitting here and saying we like where it's going, even though we don't know where it's going.
Exactly.
We really like where it's going. We're really excited for what's coming in the future. One thing that we didn't get last night that we thought we were going to get was the announcement of WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That seemed to be sort of a slam dunk. And I had some inside sources tell me that it's going to happen. I thought that was the perfect place to announce it. They didn't do it. That's fine.
They may do it at the Super Bowl. Like it may be like some at the Super Bowl.
A commercial
at the Super Bowl. They announce WrestleMania 41, but
that's a great call. That's a great call. All right, guys. Man, lots of speculation here. SmackDown is tonight. Cody, I'm fairly certain is confirmed for SmackDown tonight.
So.
I don't know about Roman. We never know about Rock. Don't know about Seth either. So lots of stuff could happen. By the time you're listening to this, developments could change.
Yep.
All that kind of stuff. But we appreciate you guys tuning in live today. Our special guest, Tyler Peters. Man, tell everybody you are very active in the podcast world and in the wrestling world. You host our fantasy booking show that comes out every Thursday, wherever you find your podcast on the Squared Circle radio feed. But Tyler, you've got so much more going on. Tell the listeners where they can find you, where they can follow you, all of your adventures.
Where they can find me is at Dustin Tyler 86, as you're seeing on your screen. I also host Tyler's Takedowns on SJP World Media. I'm hosting this fantastic show that is the Music City Wrestling Federation on Squared Circle Radio. That's why I love talking booking ideas with these gentlemen, because they're doing it with their show. And hey, check out their regular show. It's incredible. I mean, that's why I want to plug it. Good guys right here, let me tell you. And, all the podcasts at SJP World Media, a lot of wrestling and non-wrestling related, which is very cool. You have a variety. And WrestleMania X, I'm helping out Waylon. He's also helping me. We discuss a lot of the modern product. And you're right. I'm like you guys. I'm so busy doing podcasting. I love it, but it does get a bit overwhelming. But yeah, hey, we're always up for the challenge. That's what makes it fun. So I'm just very grateful to everybody to be involved.
We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you guys watching. If this is your first time, be sure to like the video. Tell a friend about Squared Circle Radio. We would appreciate it very much. Subscribe wherever you find your podcast, and give us some feedback on social media at SQCircle_radio. Make sure you do that. We would appreciate it very much. Andy, anything else to add? I mean, I know we covered quite a bit in a little amount of time, but there's still so much to go.
Still so much to go, and by the time we would cover it, it'd all change again. So
it does.
we're in a weekly changing build to WrestleMania. We still got some time before WrestleMania. I don't think this is the only swerve we're gonna
60
hit.
days, like what they say last night, like 59 days, something like that. Yeah.
So there's still a lot of room for a lot of things to still happen.
Dwayne says we're in the long game.
Yeah.
So it's not, again, nothing is set in stone. No. The only thing we know set in stone, ladies and gentlemen, I will show you right there one more time. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. That's where we are. That's what we're looking at. And if that's the way it sticks, that's the way it sticks. If it doesn't, Tyler, as Andy said, it's wide open, man. Lots of stuff can still happen.
Just buckle up is all I got to say. And I'm glad you brought up Becky and Rhea. The women's elimination chamber match is going to be very compelling. Could that be a preview of things to come? But I think we're going to get more swerves and twists and turns, and I'm okay with it. And I wanted to tell you, Andy, amen for saying we don't always need to know. It's not just to let it develop. Thank God somebody said it. I was going to say, hey, let's preach a sermon about what to do in wrestling. There you go.
Well, I said it last week on the podcast, and a lot of people are giving creative flack. We mentioned it earlier. Maybe this was the plan. Maybe it wasn't. But if they've proven anything over the years, they know what they're doing. They might have stumbled into one or two things, but that doesn't mean once they stumble in it, they can't take the ball into the end zone and make it the best possible thing it can be. So some of these things get orchestrated. Maybe some of them don't. But Andy, like you said, maybe the best plan is just we don't know what's going to happen, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we're at the point now with Triple H that he is proven he can tell long stories.
Yep.
Maybe the only fault is he tells them for too long, and he doesn't really give a definitive end at times.
Yep.
But even then, like the journey that we're on is a lot of fun, and we're telling two stories at once, but they're so intertwined together. You have to tell them at the same time.
Yes, you do.
You can't separate Roman's story and Cody's story anymore. They are literally locked in together at this point. So we're on a wild ride to WrestleMania, and like I said, we don't know where we're gonna go. And at the end of WrestleMania 40 at night 2, I may be just as mad as I was at the end of WrestleMania 39 because I was hot. I'll probably even be madder if Roman walks out as world champ still. But it's
please video that. I want to see it.
It will be.
We will. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
But yeah, it's going to be a wild ride. But this is, I'll say this. I said this last year going into WrestleMania, and I can't believe it's been topped. This is the most excited I've been for a WrestleMania ever. Yeah, probably ever. So I'm ready for it.
Last night set it over the top, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen the press conference, go back on Peacock, go back on WWE Social, go check it out. It was a lot of fun. Tyler, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Appreciate all of you listeners and viewers for hanging out with us today. Follow us at SQ_radio on social media. We've got loads of content on the road to WrestleMania. Subscribe wherever you find your podcast. For Jared Justice, Tyler Peters, Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. This has been Squared Circle Radio. We will catch you guys next Tuesday for a brand new episode.